Is the Walt Disney Company scamming $20 million of taxpayer money off of California, all under the name of Homer Simpson? Well, they just might be, and we'll explain on the other side. Folks, welcome back to Springfield, USA. No, it's somewhere sunny, USA. That's where the studio is right here, and it's glistening because you're listening to what we have to say. The radioactive hamsters pumping out the content, and we're not done yet. Decades left to go, and we need your support every single day. Click that like button, and we'll get underway explaining how Disney managed to pull off, well, what some might call a heist, grabbing up more than $20 million. And will it go to California? No, but it might come from California. The Walt Disney Company is getting a whole bunch of free money. And isn't that not too funny for taxpayers? Variety is reporting this. Gene Manow, Simpsons Movie 2, or just The Simpsons 2, to receive $22 million as California starts funding animation. That's right, California taxpayers, you are paying for the pain of making The Simpsons. Here's what it says. The Simpsons Movie 2 will be among the first animated films to receive fundings from the state of California. That's Disney, getting $21.9 million from the state's expanded production incentive program. The sequel is among 38 films, 8 studio projects, and 30 independents that will receive a collective $193 million in tax credits from the California Film Commission. 2 other animated features, Phineas and Ferb, that's Disney, and an as-yet untitled project from DreamWorks Animation will get state subsidies of $3.5 and $24.7 million, respectively. The legislature voted last year to include animated projects in the program for the first time, as it more than doubled the overall expenditure to $750 million per year. The Simpsons Movie 2 will receive a credit worth 35% of its qualified California expenditures, with a cast of 22 actors and a crew of 195. Disney announced the sequel last fall with a release date of July 23, 2027, some 20 years after the original film hit theaters. Christian, this is just free cash that's flowing from California taxpayers to pay for cartoons now. And the latest we are hearing from the politicians running to be governor, they want the $750 million uncapped. I don't know how that's even possible. I don't know how this doesn't bankrupt the state as they chase after making the kind of content they want to make without checking with the marketplace. But if I'm Disney, yeah, give me some free money. We'll make, for $20 million, we can make some movies.
You know, I spoke to an indie filmmaker a few months ago about he wanted to shoot in LA. He just couldn't. It just wasn't economically viable. Shouldn't he get money like that as opposed to a mega corporation like Disney? I mean, that just seems odd. And also, animation, Disney, LA, like I don't even quite grasp that. And I mean, they're not building sets. They're not like, you know, often with a movie, there's all these different tangential costs and businesses and restaurants and lumber and this is animation. It doesn't make sense to me. What am I missing here?
Well, here's the other crazy part about it, okay? So it's being, quote unquote, produced in California, okay? It's being produced by 20th Century Studios, which is located in California. However, the animation part of this, I cannot imagine that it's happening in California because I'm pretty sure that all the animation for The Simpsons takes place overseas.
That's what I thought too.
So then what this would be is they're literally getting the tax money, the free tax money, right? They're literally getting that to cover the expenses of of managerial stuff, of voiceover stuff, like not the actual even animation. So this isn't saving animation jobs or keeping that in California. This is just free money. And because the company is technically located in California, here you go. And that's amazing because that's not saving anything whatsoever.
I'm at a loss. I really am. Of all the productions to get this kind of largesse, it seems a very weird situation. But we must protect Harry Shearer at all costs. And maybe there's some sort of, they're going to wrap him in bubble wrap or something just to make sure he's getting older now. You need his voice there. So I don't know. So
my understanding is that The Simpsons and the movie will be animated by AKOM Production Company. That's AKOM, AKOM Production Company in South Korea. So California taxpayers, what a play by Disney. What a play. California taxpayers are paying $20 million for something that's going to be made, essentially, in Korea. That's incredible. It's incredibly stupid by California, but it's incredible by Disney to get this kind of, Nat, you can't make this stuff up. This is impressively bad, would you say?
Well, it's like, please don't leave because of the policies we instituted and the type of ideology that permeates all over that is not responding, the marketplace is not responding to, but we're going to pay you to keep doing that. However, you're going to be doing it in Korea, but let's just hope the taxpayers don't find out. I
want to change this title. Simpsons Movie 2 to receive $22 million as California starts funding Korean animation. That's what the situation is here. Culture, if this is the case, if California is going to start giving out free money, the next part of it is you've got all of these candidates for governor saying we got to uncap the 750. At that point, capitalism kind of ends in California. We're at the end game, right? Just give the money away and go make it wherever you want to make it. And does it have any kind of reflection on, the economy of California? Nope. Who cares? Just print them. Well, they can't print money yet. How are we going to do this? But they'll get money somehow. We'll get more money and we'll go into super negatives and the feds will bail us out eventually, right? The rest of the country will bail out, funding the Simpsons.
No. In fact, I think that we've seen this scam run once already in Atlanta where money moved out of that state to do productions elsewhere. That is absolutely disgusting. And I think the taxpayers and the people who vote on these things are going to hold people accountable there. The problem is in California, they don't hold anybody accountable for their massive amounts of debt increases. And right now, the deficit in California is abhorrent. Ever since Gavin Newsom has taken over, he has created nothing but a debt-funded state in the world's seventh largest economy. How you can possibly do that when you're competing with nations is mind-boggling. But most of it's because of unrestrained social programs that are frankly complete and utter failures, including their fight with homelessness. I'm not telling Christian or anybody else who's familiar with California anything they don't know. This is an ongoing problem, and the fact that when this story dropped, it was one of the things that I mentioned in a live 6-minute daily. I'm just not, frankly, surprised. And look, there are only going to be a couple of candidates that are going to appear on the ballot in the primary because they have a jungle primary in California that are going to be worth, voting for. One of them, actually both of them, I believe, are businessmen. So, frankly, everybody else that's in consideration for the top job in California as Governor Goodhair tries to move on to a presidential election, it would be worth voting for, and understand the fiscal liabilities that the state actually has. Expanding this, as I mentioned in a previous segment we did today, expanding this isn't the solution. It's just going to give you more problem, not just in Hollywood, but in overall, the state of California. I don't know how anybody could disagree with that.
So, Christian, I need your help to understand this, please. Look at this, okay? I'm not making this up. The candidates are calling for eliminating the $750 million cap. Now, Christian, what I don't pragmatically understand, that's like calling for logic to cease. Christian, if I go to my wife and I say, hey, here's the budget for this month, and she says, here's the expenses for this month, and we come together and we talk about it. Christian, I don't think I can suggest to her, hey, we're just not going to have any, economics for the household. We're going to just spend unlimited amounts and see what happens. I don't know how you can uncap the budget for giving free money away to studios. I don't know how that even functions.
Well, I agree, but we can't live in a world without the Simpsons movie too, though. So,
Well, you're right. Let's, put it in perspective. What are we doing here, guys? We got to get our priorities straight. We got to save Homer. Spider Pig has a cost, and if it's the entire state of California, we got to do it, man. We got to do it. Christian, what would it even mean, though, to uncap? Like, are we 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion? Where does it go?
Maybe there's hoping to get the bailout if the White House changes teams in 2 or 3 years.
I guess so. Maybe you're right.
Yeah, maybe that's the gamble. And they could be right. Who knows? But that transforms the industry then, okay? So people would come back to California if you uncap it completely. We're in crazy land, but we'll go there because that's what they're doing. Okay, so let's say that you uncap it. Let's say that the market still doesn't like the kind of stuff that you're making. And let's say that the kind of stuff you're making now is being influenced by California politicians because it would have to be, right? Because now you're on a subsidy. You're essentially being subsidized by the California state government. Okay, so if that's the case, the entire industry is transformed into promoting and projecting whatever it is that the California politicians giving the slush fund to them want you to say,
but there's no market for that. So you're no longer worried about, again, we're out in crazy world. I know we are, but you're no longer worried about what the market says. You're worried about what politicians will do who can give you the free money that every decade before had to be earned through the box office or through streaming or through DVD or Blu-ray, whatever. Now that comes through. Did the politician like the pitch?
Yeah, and also, listen, what Hollywood needs to do is make cheaper movies, find ways to be more efficient, more lean, and not rely on these massive budgets. That's the economic dream. But if they keep throwing money at it, then they're going to have these big budgets and not solve the problem that ultimately needs to be solved.
Because at the same time, if we believe that AI is going to allow independent content creators to make, movies at a low cost, which it seems to be, right? So reduce the expenses by 99.9% or whatever it's going to be. It doesn't matter if you subsidize it. The market is going to react to the best stories. So you can't even save it with free billions and trillions of dollars. Even that won't save it as we go into this next era, I believe. Nat, let me get Nat in here. Nat, what are your thoughts on that? That even this is not enough. There's no amount that's enough to fix this unless they fix themselves.
Exactly. But we also don't know where that money might actually be going. We know in California they have some issues, I will say, with accounting and where their train already is at the billions. It would might jump to trillions, the train that they're still not done building. And who knows what they're wasting all that money on. But maybe it could also be some interesting accounting that they might want to use this funding of Hollywood that they know, because they have to know at this point, that it's not going to work, and that probably AI and smaller creators will eat their lunch. And I think they're just going to try to save it by throwing money at it. Who knows where the money's going to go? And then we're just going to keep going in circles until, I don't know, it all collapses or something good comes out of it, which I'm very doubtful of.
I think Homer will be the conductor on the train that never happens.
It's so skeezy. I mean, it's just so skeezy, because if you're doing a film production, we can at least say it's being made like it's been filmed in California, and that's how you get the money. If it's animation, we basically know all that animation is going overseas, and then we're into like managerial expenses, secretarial expenses, administration expenses, and voice acting. I guess the voice acting, $20 million voice acting. How about that? A lot of money. All right, folks. Who would have known? Who could have thought that it would be Disney that would get all that free taxpayer money? So if you're working hard in California and you're striving to pay the bills, just know the mouse is very happy with you right now for all that free cash. Thanks for the free cheese, says Disney. The Hollyweirds don't understand how it is we do what we do, bringing you video after video every single day of the utmost highest excellence and quality. But folks, we do it because of you. We appreciate you. You are seen and heard here on the Pro Channel. Make your voices heard, folks, by doing one last thing before we say goodbye for a short time. Consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and you know what? That notification bell, click it and stick it to the algorithms. Also, drop a comment down below and let us know your thoughts. And don't forget, folks, we've got even more content on the way. If you'd like to become a member, it's just the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of exclusive content beyond what the public sees, including archival footage of the Pro Show that goes away after just a few days from its public release. Folks, we hope we get the honor of spending time with you again soon, and until then, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.